Hello class, today we're going to be working in Flash using something called motion guides. Now motion guides are pretty awesome here. Here's this car that I've made. You know, it's pretty good. I think it could win a race. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so I think a little too highly of that car. So what is this motion guide all about? Okay, there's this annoying looking line in the middle of the screen. Why would we want to use that? Well, the reason for that is it's actually an invisible line. Once we actually turn this into a movie, go ahead and go to Control Test Movie or Control Enter. And now you can see the movie without the annoying line. Okay, so let's go ahead and start here. So what's some other applications for this? If you had a snowflake, you could have the snowflake falling down in a pattern, or you could have a spider crawling across your screen. Pretty awesome. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get started. First, we need to build our car. Okay, so I went ahead and went File, New, and let's go ahead and get started using ActionScript 3. Okay, so let's go grab our tools, and to build my car, I'm going to grab a rectangle. Oh, well, you know, that's kind of boring. That's that black circle, just a black box. Okay, so let's give it a little bit of class. Well, you know, let's make it a red car. Okay, so now that we have this red box, it's needing to be a little bit more aerodynamic. So I'm going to go grab my selection tool, and I'm going to come close to that edge right there. It forms that little square close to it, and and that allows me to adjust, bring it in just a hair, and just a hair again. Okay, now I want to grab and get some tires. We need some tires for our car, and this time I'm going to use this gradient right here. So I'm going to go back and grab my rectangle tool. You know, because tires are rectangles, right? Okay, from the top they look like rectangles. Give me a break. Okay, actually, I'm kind of thinking I like the first tire I made first. So I'm going to go Control Z to delete that one. And I'm going to go ahead and just grab this one. I'm going to go with my selection tool. I'll draw a little box around it, make sure I get everything. Click Copy with Control C, and then Control V, as in Victor, pastes it. Okay, and we'll go ahead and paste it right here. And we'll paste it right here. And then we got our lowrider. Okay, well, we need a windshield. Yeah, definitely a windshield. Okay. Yeah, we want a blue windshield. I'm going for blue today. Yeah. Let's go ahead and... Yeah, that's probably good enough. Right there. Okay. So what we need to do now, and of course you can make yours a little bit more in-depth, but since this is a short tutorial, we don't want to take forever. So I'm going to go grab, what we have to do now is we have to combine we need to combine our car all together into one solid symbol. So what I do is I draw a selection, make sure I get everything of the car. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to go Convert to a symbol. And I'm going to call it Crazy Car. Okay, now if you look at the library now, it actually put our crazy car in the library. And we can go ahead and now we can use, if we had like a whole bunch of cars, we're like, okay, this is a big race and there's going to be thousands of cars. But there's not. So we'll go ahead and delete all of them except for one for now. Okay, so now we've got our car. It's been converted into a symbol, and it's very important to convert it into a symbol for what we're going to do next. So what I'm going to do now is we need to name this layer. This is going to be our race car layer. So I'm going to say, hey, this is our race car layer. Pretty awesome. Okay, so now we need to right click on that layer and say, hey, we are going to create a classic motion guide. Now, let's go ahead and create our guide. So with this, so we need to select, make sure we have, what this guide layer is it's invisible. It's going to be invisible, but it's just going to, we're going to draw a line on that to represent where the car is going to run. Just tell the car, hey, this is the path that you must take. On the guide layer, make sure I have that frame selected. And then I'm going to go ahead and start drawing a line on that layer. Okay, so now we got a pretty wild path for this car to follow. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to say, hey, we have 24 frames right here, and that's about this. That's the same amount of frames per second as a movie from a movie theater has, and so we want our thing to last at least 4 seconds. So let's say, okay, we want our thing to last 4 seconds, so 24 times 4 is almost 100. Okay, so I'm going to hit F. I'm going to select that layer on the guide layer, and I'm going to hit F5. That inserts a frame. So a whole bunch of frames between the two. Okay, so now I'll go back to this layer. Okay, and we have our car here. And what we need to do is we need to go and place our car on the line here. That's going to be our starting point. Oops. Make sure we have the right thing selected. Okay. And now what we're going to need to do is to have a place for it to end. So we're going to go, and now if you click on it right now, our car disappears. And the reason it disappears is because we only have one frame. The car is there for one frame. But what we need to do is go scroll over to our 4-second mark, and we're going to click F6 this time to put a keyframe there. But we don't want our car to end in the same place it began. We want it to end over here at the center of our seashell, we'll say. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see what happens if we play it right now. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. And poof, okay, when it gets to the last second, it jumps over to there. What we really need to do now is tell it to right click on one of the frames in between the two main keyframes on the race car layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to say create a classic twine. Okay, so by doing that, the car automatically jumped over here. Let's go ahead and bring it back to the very beginning and see what happens. And we'll hit enter for play. Okay, so we're getting closer, but our car was facing the wrong direction most of the time. So it looked pretty cheesy. Okay, so what we need to do to fix that is we're going to go to properties, and we need to select this layer. Let's see. We'll select this frame, the very first frame. And what we want to do is, as this starts out on the path, we want it to orient with the path. So we under properties, and with the first frame selected, we go to orient to path. Well, now let's go ahead and play it and see what happens. It's getting better, but it's not quite there. And the reason it's not quite there is because our car, we need to have our car facing in the right direction on each frame on each of the two keyframes. So on this last keyframe, we want the car pointed that way. So let's go ahead and do Control T. Okay, I locked my layer by accident. Okay, that's what will happen in here. Okay, so what we need to do is go to transfer. We need to get this going in the right direction from the get-go here. Okay, so we want it to be in that direction. Now for the last frame, we want it to we need to come over to here. And we want to have it orient this way. So now let's see what happens when we play it. Oh, very good. We'll go ahead and test it in the movie. Pretty cool. So that's how you create a motion guide.